welcome to our Morning Throners podcast.
My name is Nelson.
I'm Jeff.
And I'm Glow. We're the fucking Morning Throners.
And welcome back to another episode of Morning Throners podcast as we jump straight into A Night of the Seven Kingdoms, Nelson's favorite story, and the prequel to A Song of Ice and Fire, where we follow the tale of Dunk and Egg. Nelson, take it away.
Before we start, I just want to let everybody know exactly what we're doing here. So this is going to be on the first half of the book. If you have the hardcover, it's up to page 74. So if you haven't read that far, turn back now.
First half of the Hedge Night.
First half of the Hedge Night of the 3 short stories. Yep. So I've read this countless times. I told Jeff and Glow each to read 74 and stop. Glow couldn't control himself and just kept reading. So Jeff has stopped at 74, and Glow and I have read the entire Hedge Night.
Solely because I'm just mentally tougher than Glow.
So we'll see how this podcast goes. If it's too short, maybe for the next one we'll do the entire A Sworn Sword, which is the second short story. So, but for this one we're going to be go up through the first half. I thought it was a good idea that we could get some predictions and stuff. Maybe it was stupid. We'll see at the end. So just first off, neither of you guys had read this before. Did you guys know anything going in?
No, I was completely clueless coming in, other than that kind of...
I knew...
You hear about who Sir Duncan the Tall is because Bran kind of likes him. I think he brings him up.
So you knew he was in the Kingsguard.
Whoa!
That's not a spoiler from these. They're not. That's not in.
That's a fucking spoiler.
That is not in any of these short stories. That's mentioned countless times in.
Maybe when Bran brings him up, he brings up Sir Duncan the Tall when he's talking about being a knight in the Kingsguard.
Yeah.
I didn't put 2 and 2 together, but I knew he was a knight, and he had to have been of some note because Bran talks about him.
Yeah, I'm not saying that's a spoiler because not once does it by the time the third short story is over, that is not even on the table. Right, so that none of that happens in these stories. That's just something that's from A Song of Ice and Fire. So besides that, do you know anything about any of the other characters, like the other main one?
Yeah, I knew.
You've told me
who Aegon was. Yeah, I know it was Aegon.
Okay.
Because Duncan Eggtails.
Yeah, so you guys knew.
You don't know how to keep a secret. That was the problem.
I just get too amped up, and I think nobody's ever going to read these, and then I convince you idiots to do a podcast, and now you have to read them. So.
Yeah.
Joke's on
so
you.
I knew who Dunk and Egg were coming into this thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
What do you think of the just the characters themselves?
I think it's Dunk is. He wants to be smart and be a really good knight, but you just tell he's just an idiot, and
he's a simple man.
Yeah, when you get it from his point of view, he's like, "Oh, I should beat his ass," but he's actually he's smarter than me, so I should listen to him. And he's going a lot off of what the old man taught him. So I'm kind of excited to learn more about the old man. I don't know if we will, but
yeah, old man Sir Arlen of Pennytree, the guy who. So basically, the background of this is what happens before this story starts. Is all we really know is Dunk was an orphan from the Seven Kingdoms, from King's Landing,
from Fleabottom,
and Sir Arlen somehow rescues him from the ghettos of Fleabottom. He doesn't even really remember his name. He doesn't know exactly how old he is. He says he's 17-ish.
So is he just Dunk, no last name?
Huh? Just Dunk, no last name. He doesn't even know if his because when Egg asked him, he's like, "What's your name?" He's like, "Dunk," and he's like, "Is that short for Duncan?" He's like, "I don't know. I don't know my real name."
I never thought of that before.
Yeah. So basically, yes, he's a orphan in Fleabottom. Some guy, I forget if they say why, but some guy basically, Sir Arlen, is like, "Hey, I need a squire, come with me." And we knew that he was a little bit of a troublemaker, I think, and that's part of why he got him out of there. But ever since, he's just kind of been a good squire to this guy. I kind of picture him being like Podrick was to Brienne in the show. That kind of just super loyal but kind of clumsy.
Yeah, exactly like that. I mean, he had to learn his ropes. And I mean, he had a good teacher. He has good morals because of this guy too. It seems like Arlen was a good knight.
And yeah, so Sir Arlen grows old, between 50 and 60, Dunk thinks, and he dies. He's dead when the story opens. It opens with Dunk digging a grave for him. So we don't really know exactly how he dies, but Dunk says that Sir Arlen used to always say, Who knows what tomorrow will bring, Dunk? And Dunk basically says, well, one day it brought cold rain, and the next day it brought us a fever, and then now I'm burying him.
Yeah, he said he got sick for like 3 days and then died.
Yeah, from like the cold, from like bad weather. It seems like
he said a chill.
I'm gonna assume it was just an old man dying next to a tree because they have no money and no belongings and.
Yeah. So he says that he gets knighted by this guy before.
On his deathbed.
Like on his deathbed, basically.
Nobody believes it.
But there's a couple times when he like thinks about the first thing he thinks like, what am I gonna do now? He's like, oh, maybe I could go be a squire for some other knight. And then when he goes to apply and like put his name in for the tournament, he's like, are you a knight? And he's like, yes. And he's like, I wonder if he could see that my ears were red, which I guess is like if he knows.
He definitely didn't get knighted.
So like, is he lying about being a knight, or like, it doesn't seem like something Dunk would do? But there's like those two things kind of be like, again, I've read this so many times, like rereading. I'm like, is he like? Because nobody knows, right?
But he also just says his ears are getting red when he's nervous too.
Yeah, yeah.
When he's talking to the girl, his ears are getting red. It happens a bunch, but the one time was like, oh my god, my ears are definitely red right now. And I think he was telling a big lie.
Yeah, I think he's definitely lying about it.
And it just seems that his
good
first.
For him. Good for him.
I mean, it turns out well, right? I mean, for like knighthood as a whole, he's a better knight than a lot of the knights we see in the book, in like the Song of Ice and Fire books, right? He's
just because he seems noble right now.
He seems like he's got good intentions in mind, right?
All he's worried about is winning one joust. That's all he wants to win. That's all we know about his.
Yeah, because he is so down on
his moral compass right now. Yeah, I mean he hasn't really shown us anything other than how he treats Egg.
At the very end of what we read,
he keeps threatening to beat a kid too. So
yeah.
And I mean he wants to bang this girl. I'm not.
You think that's all it is? Is he's trying to get with this girl, and that's why he rushes to her aid?
What do you think? He loves her. He's seen her 2 nights.
That's exactly what I'm saying. I don't think that's it. I think he's just defending the innocent.
He's being a good knight.
Yeah,
he's got good morals.
All right, so let's go chronologically through. So it starts off Dunk's burying the old man. Then a couple things. He basically all he has to his name is everything the old man had before he died. He's got 3 horses.
3 horses and a suit of armor and
a couple saddles.
4 silvers.
A suit of armor that's too small and 4 silvers. And then
a belt that's too small.
A belt that's too small and a sword. So he rides up to an inn on the way to Ashford. So they're on their way to this town, Ashford, looking for. There's like a big tournament, and they're on their way there. And he stops at an inn, and it's like deserted but he expects it to be packed, and he assumes it's because it's like the inn's really close to Ashford, so he assumes everyone's just there instead. Mm-hmm. And the only 2 people he sees are a little, who he assumes is a stable boy. He just like tells to tie up and take care of the horses, and then he goes inside, and there's a drunk guy passed out at the table. And he orders ale and like goat and like duck and lamb. She's like, we got duck and lamb, and he's like, both. And she's like, well, you're big enough for it. Yeah, because he doesn't get to eat. Normally he's eating salt beef, which I assume is basically just like beef jerky.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
The shittier version.
Yeah.
A little tangent. Have you guys ever had duck?
No, yes. I heard it's good though.
Yeah.
Oh, phenomenal.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Oh my god. Yeah, if it's cooked correctly, it's so good.
Is it tough or no?
No, if you cook it, you need to eat it like medium rare. Like medium rare is the most you can cook it.
Yeah, because I heard it's very
really
gamey.
tough. But yeah, no, I had it down in New Orleans, and it was in this like pasta Alfredo dish, and it was unbelievable.
You ever have gator?
I did.
I gator
in
Florida.
Love gator.
Yeah.
Fed gator, jerky, gator, fried gator.
I've had all that. It's cool to try.
Gator on a stick.
I'll stick to chicken.
Shrimp gumbo, gator gumbo.
Gator gumbo is so good.
Gator's a little too chewy for. If I'm gonna pick gator or duck, I'm going duck 1,000 times out of 1,000.
I'll stick with chicken.
I'll have to try duck.
Back to the story.
All right, so moving on. Dunk gets his food, and this drunk guy like yells at him that he saw him in his dreams, and then just like kind of walks upstairs, and the lady's like, "Oh, don't mind him." And then asks about if her boy is taking care of his horses, and Dunk's like, oh yeah, he's out there. So Dunk finishes eating, goes out, and when he goes back out, Egg is sitting on Dunder with like all the armor on,
yeah,
like pretending to be a knight.
Question: when the lady asked that, was there supposed to be another boy?
That's what I'm assuming, because she
That's
says.
what I was confused about. I was like, what is going on here?
Because she said, "Is my boy out there, or has he run off again?" So I'm assuming her boy ran off again to go to Ashford, and Egg showed up, and because there was just a little miscommunication between Duncan and that
because he didn't know whose boy it was.
Yeah,
Just
was
a boy.
Aegon just naked in the fucking street?
Was he naked when he shows up? I forget.
He says something like that. I was like, wait, what?
Yeah.
I reread it.
I thought he was wearing like his small clothes. He wasn't wearing anything.
Does it tell us
Fancy,
how
so-
old he is here?
It doesn't tell us either age, so we don't even know how old Dunk is.
Well, Dunk said he thinks he's about 16 or 17, but he's not sure.
Okay.
He said he doesn't know. But yeah, Egg, I'm assuming is like Arya age.
7.
Well, Arya's 9, but yeah, right? I think Arya's 9. Bran's
Is
7.
Arya's older than Bran.
Bran's 7. Yeah, I'm just getting like a big Arya vibe from Egg.
He just he was swimming in the river. So
Yeah,
he's
naked.
Yeah.
Yeah, when just like kind of the way Egg talks, and again,
Yeah.
maybe it's like the highborn thing, right? Highborn, because they both kind of the same situation. Highborn trying to fit in with lowborns, right? There's an important thing that I not important
Just
at all
not
thing
afraid
that I
to
caught
speak their mind to lower people.
when Dunk first accepts Egg as a squire, and this is coming up. We'll be there in a sec, but he says, "Thank you, my lord, I will," and Dunk has to correct him and be like, "I'm not a lord, I'm sir." But it's kind of
he's
the same thing.
Trying to play it stupid.
He even says "my lord," and there's a scene in the show. I don't know if you remember.
Yeah,
Arya
my
says
lord.
that to Tywin, and Tywin's like, "You got to say it like you have mud in your mouth or something, my
Yeah.
lord."
My lord.
So Egg is kind of doing those things that point out highborns who are trying to pretend to be lowborn as highborn anyway.
Yeah.
I think I did notice that. That was the thing. I was like,
It was
he
weird.
said
It's
mine.
on its line. It's like Egg replied, "Yes, my lord," like on a line of its own. So it just kind of stuck out to me.
And then even when they get to the tourney, I think he is so caught up in the emotion of the joust, he
Yeah.
kind of forgets that because he just starts
He's like, "Get
rattling
him,
off
get him,
all
get
these
him."
knights,
Yeah.
and he just rattles off all this information like he's been studying the
Well, he
knights from
tells-
the pavilion.
He tells Dunk like earlier. Because Dunk, I think this is when Dunk catches him on the warhorse, or maybe on the way into the inn. He's like, "You don't look like a knight." He's like, "Do you know every knight in the Seven Kingdoms?" And he's like, "All the good ones," because since he is like, that's like what you would know, right? That's like
Yeah, he'd be front row to every
exactly
probably
every
major
joust.
tourney.
Yeah. Gets all geeked up. He's just basically like Sansa in that aspect, how she knows who all the greatest knights.
all
Or
the,
Bran.
yeah, all the big knights
all
are.
the, all the great knights that she could bang, maybe.
Yeah,
Okay,
right?
Bran at the beginning of Game of Thrones, how he kind of like you were saying earlier, just rattles off.
Duncan the
whatever he knows.
Tall and shit like that.
So Dunk leaves him behind and rides ahead, and he sees up pavilions. And this is I did take a little note here of some of the people he saw.
Hold on. At this point, how does Dunk leave Egg? Just take off the armor and he's out? I forget.
He says he flips him a copper, and Egg doesn't pick it up and just like looks at him angrily, and then Dunk thinks to himself like, "Oh, he'll pick that up when I leave. He's just trying to spite me." But as we know now, he probably doesn't give a fuck about that copper. Egg probably has like
No.
a bag of like 20 gold in the inn or something.
20 dragons.
Yeah, exactly. So, and hold on. So Dunk gets to the tournament and he looks around, and he says that although he never learned to read, the old man would like quiz him on his like sigils.
Mm-hmm.
So he knows a bunch of people there. The Crown Stag for Sir Lionel Brafty and the Laughing Storm. The Tarly Huntsman was there. House Dondarrion's Purple Lightning. The Red Apple of Fossaway. The Lion of Lannister. Dark Green Sea Turtles of Estermont. Sir Otho Bracken, who's called the Brood of Bracken.
Bunch of randos.
Yes. Well, all these people these people we don't, but these
We know the
families,
family.
like every one of
Yeah.
them sounds familiar, right?
I
And-
don't recall the Fossways. Are they from the Reach?
They're from the Reach. I think they're lesser. I think they're in some of the Stannis and Renly stuff.
Yeah.
I don't remember Bracken that well either. Are
So
they,
Bracken and Blackwood are big in the 5th book. So Jaime, when he goes on his like tour trying to stop the Riverlands, and there's not gonna be spoilers in this, but when he's out like doing the river run shit, out and about, then after he comes back to King's Landing without a hand, then goes back out. He stops at the Brackens, who have been in like a constant conflict with Blackwoods, even though they both like started from the same blood. They've been like at war like forever amongst themselves, and that's what I found interesting here, because they say Sir Ortho Bracken was called the Brood of Bracken ever since he slayed Lord Quentin Blackwood, and he struck so hard with the blunted long axe that he broke in like helmet and this guy's head.
Oh yeah, in the tourney. I
Yeah, so
remember
like
that.
that's just kind of interesting if you know like Westeros really well. There is this Bracken Blackwood rivalry, and even so much that they're trying to kill each other in tournaments.
I have a quick question. Where the fuck is Ashford?
It's
I
in the
was thinking
south,
that.
right? It's like in the south near the Reach, which is why all these are southern
Lords.
lords, like southern Reach lords, like Westerling, Swan, Hightower, Florent, Frey.
Oh, okay.
Right? There's no Stark, there's no Umber. It's because it's in the south.
Makes sense.
So Dunk
And
sees all
they're
these.
scared to invite him there.
Yeah. So Dunk sees all these pavilions and realizes he is not welcome here. This is too high class for him. So he goes and just picks out a spot to bunk by himself.
Yeah, next
A
to
little
nice big
grassy
elm tree.
knoll.
Yeah, under a nice big elm tree too. And it's funny because so then he goes out.
Wink, wink.
He goes out that night to do something. And what does he do? Oh, he goes to see
He goes to get armor.
the armor.
The armor.
Who's like a 5 foot tall, just like super wide, Pudge looking guy.
Exactly who I thought of.
Pudge, an older version of Pudge.
Pudge circa 2053.
So what does he tell? He makes a deal with this guy because he says he needs armor, but he doesn't have any himself. This is another thing I noticed.
He asked for 800 silver for
800.
it. Start.
But then he says he's going to trade him another piece of chainmail.
Yeah, all
And
right,
he
but
bumps it down
here's
to
the thing.
600.
He said 800. He was like, "Well, I'll give you 2." Didn't he say 2?
Well,
I'll give you 2.
He says, "What if I
Alright.
give you other armor? Will that bring the price down?" That's when he says 600, and then he's like, "Okay, I'll give you 2 now, and I'll bring the rest back tomorrow."
2 silvers out of
600.
558
No,
to go.
no. Isn't it
Or
400?
598 to go.
598
No.
to go. Yeah,
That's ridiculous. That he was like, "Okay, I'll take the 2 silvers."
but the thing is, he has nothing to lose. If Dunk doesn't show up, he doesn't do anything.
I mean,
He
he
just made 2
sizes up all
silvers.
this armor for him.
Yeah, but worst case, you just have this armor ready for the next guy who comes along.
Is it
For the
600
next
silver?
7
I thought it was 600 something else.
No, 600 silvers.
Silver
So
stacks,
silvers.
right, or something like that.
Yeah, and we know he had 4, but then he ate, and so I think he only has 2 at the moment.
I need to know the conversion rate of gold because it seems like one dragon could have covered the 600 silver.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think a dragon is a crazy amount.
Yeah, so just imagine when Tyrion would say like 300 dragons.
Yeah. All right, so how's this tourney work?
So there's 5 champions.
I mean, in terms of like Dunk, what does he need to?
If you
He needs
so
one joust.
The,
He needs to
the,
win one.
the winner gets everything the loser owns. I'm pretty sure, right? Or at least what he brought to the fight.
Yeah.
His horse's armor, and
It's like one man
I guess
enter,
that's
one man
kinda-
leave, but the man
yeah.
who leaves with everything you brought in.
then
Bring your
if you
pink
if
slips,
you want,
boys.
you can buy your stuff back.
Yeah, so
from-
like
with the value of
yeah,
whatever.
and so it's supposed to be because like a knight who like Dunk.
It's like an auction kind of, right?
Yeah, because so imagine like I beat Glow in a joust or Glow beats me. What's Glow gonna do with my armor? You know,
Right, buy it
so
back.
and obviously I need that armor. It's fitted for me, so it's kind of just like a way to whatever you're bringing in, that's what you pay out. So like say
Yeah.
Jeff and I go in against each other, and I go in naked, and you're in full clad mail. I have nothing to lose, but I'm probably gonna lose. You know what I
But
mean?
you're probably gonna die.
But it's kind of like a way to make it as if you're disadvantaged, you have more to gain. You have less to lose. Like if you're wearing shitty armor, you have less to lose than a person who comes in wearing gold
Right.
enameled.
Yeah, no, I completely understand. That's why he went to this guy and just got really good armor, but without all the fastenings and paint and
Yeah.
a fucking eagle flying on his helmet and shit like that.
Yeah.
He's a man of simple tastes.
But I don't understand his. I mean, I guess I understand kind of. If he wins one race, he'll take whatever that guy is going to give him, but he's going to
Yeah.
keep racing, right?
Yeah, he would
Yeah,
try
he can
again.
keep fighting. He can.
So if he would lose, he would just lose what he had on in that fight. He'd still have that other guy's horse and
Well,
the other guy's armor.
But I
Yes.
think I don't think they normally keep the stuff at all. It's basically I think it's just a money exchange.
He's just gonna say he's gonna take the money and,
Yeah.
and run.
So
Or
he would
for the
take
most
he
part.
would take the money, right? He beats
and then
person
lose
A,
and not buy it back.
then he can I think he would buy it
Yeah, he
back,
doesn't
but
need to buy it back.
him buying back his armor would be way cheaper than the person who bought back their armor from him in the fight earlier. So even
Right.
if he buys back his armor, he's still positive.
I
Is
gotcha.
what I think his
His reasoning
his
is.
reasoning is. Yeah, which is probably right. I mean, his armor probably is expensive just because it's so big. But unless he's fighting somebody else who's super plainly dressed, and
Yeah.
like you were about to explain the rules of the tournament, he can pick who he
Who he's gonna
challenges.
play. Which I didn't I didn't understand at first. I thought especially when he said he was going to be racing the third day, I was like when all the low knights would just get out there and just start jousting. When it was 5 jousts going on at once,
that was
pretty crazy idea.
Yeah.
And I don't think I've ever even heard of that being a thing.
Yeah.
You know,
I love when
wild.
you get unhorsed, you can fucking still fight. It's sick.
That's a crazy element as well that I did not like. Okay, now they're jumping off their horses and they're fighting. Okay,
and I think Dunk even thinks to himself like a couple times. I think like he's like, I'm not a great jouster, but as long as when I get knocked off, I don't get hurt too bad, then I can still get up, and that's when I am doing pretty good. He's like, if I get knocked off, I just got to make sure I knock that guy off too. Because you don't ever want to be on your feet against a guy on a horse. That's when you're kind of like, that's when you're like, I yield, because then you're just kind of fucked.
Well, I mean, if you were knocked off your horse, the guy's going to get off and fight. I think that happened.
I think the guy got off. Or was he on the horse still?
I don't think you have to get off. Yeah. I don't know. Maybe it's honorable to get off, but I don't think, like, there's definitely no rule for that. It's just until the other guy like, yields.
You easily ride that guy down.
Exactly. Then he yields and you win. That's what I think it is. Like, if both people get knocked off, you finish it on your feet. But if only one person does,
I think the very
it's
first
a
joust, the guy got knocked down. He stood up to try and fight, and the dude jumped off his horse and fought him.
I think that's probably the honorable thing to do, but I don't know if it's necessary. Is all I'm saying. But we're almost there. So we'll get there in a sec. After Dunk makes his deal about the armor, he goes back to camp for the night, and that's when Egg's there. And Egg has like turned camp around.
Yeah, did all this work, started cooking a fish.
He went fishing, fucking cleaned up, got a fire going.
So where did he get the fish? Did he bring the fish with him?
He said he caught it.
Okay,
I just went in the river. There's a river around there. We're swimming in it.
Egg's a pretty resourceful cat. I like him.
And it's funny, this wasn't
funny you say cat.
It was
cat of the canals.
It was a lot like Arya. He was a lot, but earlier I don't think it was when Egg was there. Earlier, Dunk, there's a throwaway line. He says like, Sir Arlen was a knight, and he used to say we always knights have to keep themselves clean, so we have to wash once a moon turn, even if we don't stink or not. Like that's once a month.
Once a month,
Dunk's thinking himself like, oh, I'm a clean person because I bathe in a river, and then put on the same dirty clothes once. And a month.
Egg's probably getting milk baths and shit.
Well, Egg. That's the thing, because when he comes back, Egg has washed his clothes. Because Dunk cleans.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Dunk cleans himself and then just takes his dirty clothes and smacks them against a tree to like get like the very exterior dirt off. But when he comes back, Egg has washed all his shit and it's like hanging up. And because Dunk even says like, "Why are my clothes
over the fire
in a tree?" Yeah.
Just imagine how bad. I mean, even though it was probably clean, just sitting over a fire, it'd be all smoky and shit. Like someone's grandma that smokes a
dude.
pack
I
of
love the
Marlboro.
smell of smoke though.
Well,
I love campfire.
Campfire smells different than cig smoke. Like old lady cig smoke. Yeah.
I mean, smoke is smoke.
Nah, it's a better smoke, dude. It's a way better smoke.
Well, yeah, I'm not going to disagree that it's a better smoke, but it's still smoke.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want it lingering on me, but it doesn't smell that bad. I enjoy it when I have it.
Better than whatever Dunk smelled like before, hands down.
100%.
So they're laying there, and I really like this part. They're going to bed, and Dunk's like, Egg's like, I couldn't find your pavilion. He's like, this elm tree is all the pavilion I need. He's like, well, what if it rains? And he's like,
real knight sleeps under the stars.
Yeah, he's like, I'd rather see this than this. The inside, kind of like what Jeff's saying, the inside of a smoky tent. So this is the difference: campfire smoke versus tent smoke. But
I love what Egg says.
What does Egg reply?
Trees leak.
Yeah, trees leak. And that's when Dunk's like, all right, if we're being real, it's because I don't have any money, you fuck.
All right, dick.
So they're going to bed, and Dunk sees a shooting star, and he thinks that, like, oh, I heard somewhere shooting stars are lucky, and I'm probably the only knight that saw this because all the other knights are sleeping in pavilions. They're not looking up at the stars, so he's like, the luck's all mine.
Yeah, for how long, asshole? You should have fought yesterday.
It's just like...
you should have fought tomorrow.
Yeah, but I mean, that's just like a classic... like lowborn. You hear like in the Song of Ice and Fire, the maesters are always like, "Oh, the commoners say this means this. This means this." It just seems like he's like all hyped up on the peasant. Superstitions. So what's next? The next day, he tells Egg to stay at camp, but he goes.
He's going to see the Master of Games.
Yeah. So this is when he tries to register for himself for the Master of Games. We kind of talked about this. He like has a conversation like, "Oh, are you a knight?" And he's like, "Well, I serve Sir Arlen, who then knighted me." And he's like, well, is there anybody here that can prove it? And he's like, oh, Dondarrion can. I serve for his father, Like I was there when we served for his father.
I really enjoyed. I know he doesn't go back there. I'll wait till we
Yeah,
meet
so
the guy.
this guy's basically like, all right, if you can get him, bring him, but and I'll bring it up.
Good
to,
luck.
And then he says he'll bring it up to Lord Ashford, and they'll see. Thing is, in books like this, and I kind of think this one's a little bit different. I think they did a good job. In real life, if I'm this guy, the master of the games, and there's about to be tournaments for 3 days, how many people are competing in this tournament? What's one more dude?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. Like, shit.
What's to lose?
If Dunk said, all right, no, I'm not jousting until the 3rd day, when probably people are going to be tired and bowing out anyway, just let me joust on the 3rd day.
That's the other thing about this jousting tournament that I really don't understand is, it's like, I don't watch WWE wrestling, but it's like, there's a thing they do where like 5 people start in a ring, and every time somebody gets thrown out, somebody new comes in, and you do it for like 30 people.
Yeah, it's the, it's Royal Rumble. Yeah, it's Royal Rumble.
The first 5 people have such a disadvantage. They have to go through 30
They have
people.
to
If
fight.
you're the last guy running in the ring, you got to beat 4 other guys. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's in like, so they pick the 5 champions, like none of these guys are going to be here at the end. Or they've literally just won every joust for 3 days straight.
I think they knew some of them wouldn't be at the end, but I think, the 2 Ashford boys, they were like, well, they can't fucking last.
Because they're just there for... But still, like, you get beat up.
It's not an easy tournament to fight through.
No doubt at all. Every time you get probably hit with the fucking lance or...
Yeah, you're like, fuck this.
Yeah, you're gonna probably break ribs and break arms and shit.
Yeah,
if
it's like if it's like a non-contact, like non-exhaust, if it's like golf, right? Then okay, the best person can consistently win over and over again. But when it's like, even if you're winning, you're still getting beat up. It makes your next one harder. Just seems like it's set up for the people whoever goes, like the Royal Rumble, whoever goes last has a better shot.
Yeah, no doubt. It's definitely that way.
All right, so the next thing is once Dunk leaves the Master of the Games, he goes down to try to sell, I think it's Sweetfoot, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, Sweetfoot.
And he's down there waiting for the Master of Horse, and then right as the Master of Horse comes up, like a bunch of banners come by, and Dunk sees it's a royal procession. There's 3 Knights of the Kingsguard, and one of the princes of Dragonstone, or one of the princes.
One of the 80 princes of fucking Dragonstone.
Yeah, how many fucking princes?
So this one is Valar, who is again, none of this really matters too much in this book, but the current king is Sir Baelor Breakspear's father, who is King Daeron the Good. So Baelor Breakspear is the father of this guy who Dunk sees. So this guy is the eldest son of the eldest son.
Okay,
so
he's the oldest?
He is, right. Yeah, so he is, like, probably going to get a shot at the throne, right? So we have Sir Baelor, who's this guy's father, and then I guess we'll get to this later.
Who's there, right? He's there, too.
Well, yeah, we'll get to this later once
they show him up
those,
later.
Yeah, once we get to those characters. But so right now, the guy who Dunk sees, I don't even know if he knows it's Valar at this point, but it's either Valar or Valar's brother, who isn't in this book. So it's Valar, who is Balon Targaryen's eldest son.
Right.
And the interaction he has with this guy is basically Dunk's standing there waiting to talk to the Master Horse, and this guy comes up thinking Dunk's a stable boy, which is kind of funny.
Oh, yeah.
Because we get Dunk thinking a Targaryen's a stable boy, and then we get a Targaryen thinking Dunk's a stable boy. And
I guess it was Valar. I thought it was Aerion, the douchebag Targaryen.
Oh, this was Aerion's?
Yeah, it wasn't Valar.
I think there's two.
You're right.
I think there's 2 princes.
You're right.
We don't meet Valar until the joust.
You're right, but Dunk at first thinks this is Valar. And it's like
maybe he says maybe that's Prince Valar.
Yeah, he thinks it's either Valar or Valar's brother, but I think you guys are definitely right. This isn't Valar. This is Aerion. So Aerion's relation to Valar is they are cousins. Balon is Valar's dad.
Baelor
is Valar's dad, who we haven't seen them in this book. Baelor's brother Maekar is the father of Aerion, who's this guy.
Maekar is Aerion's father.
So Maekar and Baelor.
And Maekar is there, and Maekar is out looking.
It's Maekon, isn't it?
Whatever.
Maekar. I think it's Maekar. Maekar's out looking for.
He goes out looking for his 2 sons. He lost 2 sons. It said.
Yep.
So it doesn't tell you who.
It's crazy to me knowing who Egg is,
Yeah.
from his uncle, his great uncle's king right now.
Yeah.
And there's all these sons.
No, his grandpa's king.
Okay, his grandfather's king, but
his uncle's about to be king.
His uncle, and then wouldn't his uncle's sons be in front of him too? His cousins would be. So he's like 18th in line. It seems like with all these fucking Targaryens.
At the moment, so Baelor is next in line. Daeron the Good is king. Baelor is next in line. There's 3 other.
4. He has 3 kids.
He has 3 other brothers. Baelor. So again,
it is Maekar.
That doesn't matter, but they would come before Egg, right? So that's not the line of succession. The line would be Baelor's sons, and then the next eldest, and then his sons, and the next eldest, and his sons. But before Egg include all of his dad's brothers, each of their sons, and I think none of them had sons except for Baelor and Maekar. And Baelor has 2, Valar and somebody else. Again, none of this really matters in this book. There's not that many of these people. And then Egg has 4 brothers. So he is like you're saying, he's like 9th in line at this point, which is why he is named Aegon the Unlikely.
Yeah.
In the Song of Ice and Fire books.
Which makes sense.
Yeah. So we see this guy, and he's a total dick, and eventually just another stable boy comes up and takes the horse.
Yeah.
So at this point, he talks to the horse guy, the master of horse, and tries to sell Sweetfoot.
Yeah, and he doesn't have any room in the stable as it is, so he's like, fuck off, kid.
So what's Dunk's move now? What's he do next?
To go see Lord Ashworth's master of horse or something, right?
That's where he is.
That's where he is. Then where does he go?
That guy gives him a name, doesn't he?
Hummel or something.
So, well, the real quick after this, he talks to the Kingsguard. He talks to the Kingsguard, and he asks them, like, oh, are you guys competing? And because he's like, fuck, if I get stuck jousting against one of the Kingsguard, I'm screwed. And they're like, no, it wouldn't be right for us to joust against the people we're served to protect. So they're like, all right, we're in.
Well, no, he's like, oh shit, that means a Targaryen. Targaryens
gonna
are
be
racing.
Yeah,
or jousting.
All right. So after he's trying to sell his horse to the Master of Arms, you guys are right. He tries to. The Master of Arms or the Master of Horse basically says like, we're too busy right now. Go sell it in like the town stables and go talk to Henley. So he goes and haggles with Henley, and Henley just pulls one over on him. Henley says, "I'll buy it for 300," and Dunk says 3,000, and then they ended up settling for 750. And Dunk even thinks we ended way closer to his starting price than mine, which means I definitely lost this negotiation.
What's that? Pawn Stars? It's the total Pawn Stars.
Yeah. He's like,
I could do 350.
It's like, what? You have a signed Elvis Presley microphone that he used on stage in every single concert? I can give you $20 for it.
Hey, I gotta be able to sell this.
He's like, I gotta hold it in my shop. Like, you don't know the
up
upkeep.
shelf space.
You don't know the upkeep on this thing. Yeah,
and then like he gets interviewed after. He's like, dude, I'm gonna make a killing on this. It's gonna sell right away.
Yeah, that's what Henley's doing to Dunk. And Dunk even says, he's like, if I win, I'm gonna come back for this horse. He's like, because Dunk likes all his horses. He's like, if I win, I'm gonna come back for Sweetfoot. He's like, and I'm sure the price will have doubled. Like all his flaws will disappear in the time that I'm gone. But one thing that I think, again, just an awesome Dunk being a great guy. When he's leaving, he like gives the guy like an extra silver, and he's like, "That's because I want Sweetfoot to have apples tonight, because he plans on buying him as soon as he can." You know that guy's just gonna pocket that silver, right?
Yeah, probably.
Isn't it coppers? It's not silver.
Whatever. He gives him some money for apples. So Jeff and I figured out the conversion because he gets. So they settle on 750 silvers, and the guy pays him in 3 gold and the rest in silver. So I'm guessing 1 gold is probably like 200 silver, because that would be 600, and then the rest in silver would be 150. It makes sense to me. Who knows? That seems probably pretty close. Can't be more than that, or it does.
220, 220.7.
No.
And they get a weight out.
All right, so now that Dunk has his money, he's going back to get his armor from Steely Pate. And this is something we forgot the first time he goes to see Steely Pate, but there's like a puppet place nearby on the street where everybody's selling shit. And there's this chick that Dunk points out, like, one thing he says, like, she doesn't have big boobs. There's no boobs to speak of.
No boobs at all.
But he likes her face.
No boobs.
She got a cute face.
And she's kind of tall
And she's
for
tall.
a girl, right?
Yeah, she's tall.
She's real tall for a girl.
Not tall for him.
Yeah, that's what he says a little bit later. We'll get to that in a sec.
Yeah.
So he goes.
So you said we forgot. You just forgot.
Well, you didn't say it either.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Touche.
the next scene starts with Dunk's coming back to the camp to see Egg, and the camp's like looking like real good, and he's got a sack of armor over his shoulder, and Egg's like, "Did you sell Sweetfoot?" And he's like, "How'd you know I was going to sell Sweetfoot?" He's like, "Well, because you rode off on a horse and you walked back."
And you walked back. Dunk is an idiot.
Yeah, he's like, "Wow, this
He
boy."
really is.
He's like, "This boy is a genius."
He is so fucking smart. Holy shit.
Wait, we missed something again. I missed something, or you guys missed something. Before he goes to get the armor, he is walking through like a training yard, and he sees two knights, one Fossway knight and one Fossway squire, dueling. And we find out that it's Sir Stefan, and he's just kind of giving the work to this
Just
younger
beating up his little
squire
cousin.
What is it, Raymond,
Sir Raymond
or something?
Yeah, Sir Raymond Fossway. So they're both Fossways, but they're cousins. And Sir Stefan is a knight, and Sir Raymond isn't. And he sees Dunk going by, and he basically like shouts at him like, "Hey, you come!"
You big fuck, come fight me
Come
too.
fight
I'll
me.
beat you up.
Because Raymond's too easy. And Raymond, because he just got his ass beat, he's like, "Come on, Dunk!" Or they get his name. They're like, "Come on, you're so big, you'll definitely be able to beat him." And he declines because he isn't wearing any armor. And he's like, "I'm gonna go away." And as he goes to walk away, Raymond comes up, the younger one, and he's like, "Hey, I'm sorry, I asked you to fight. I shouldn't have done that." And he points out like, "You're not wearing armor." He's like, "Plus,
He would
like,
have broke your arm.
plus he would have broke your arm because he tries to like hurt people so that they're worse when he meets them on the jousting field. And even if he's not, he's trying to learn your moves."
Yeah.
So then this is when Dunk goes to get his armor, and the next day, then he goes and shows up to Egg, and that's when that conversation with Egg happens. And he tells Egg, "The next day, I'm bringing you to town with me." So the next scene starts with him trying to convince Dondarrion to vouch for him and like prove that he was a knight.
Just not working.
So why does
So
like
Darren's like, why the fuck would I believe you, dude? There's 1,000 knights in my army. Jesus Christ.
and Dunk has a story that he thinks that will like, convince
The
him.
story that every lowborn kid in the Reach or wherever they're fucking from.
Do you remember
was
it?
told.
Or what it's about.
Yeah, so Dondarrion was about to fight two people, and a bolt of lightning came down and forked and struck the two guys and killed them. So Dondarrion was cool, and he said from that moment on he would praise the gods, and I think he was knighted because of it too. And
Yeah.
or
Well, that's
Yeah,
where
it
the
was something
sigil.
crazy.
Yeah, it was like that was like the end of the
Just-
war or something. So he got raised to lordship, and that's when
lordship.
all of a
And
sudden they
he
needed
had to pick a house, and he picked the purple
Yeah, he-
lightning bolt.
Yeah, for his sigil. Which is funny because a little bit later we'll get there. Dunk has to decide a sigil for his own, and he's like, "Fuck, what? I got nothing." And then it like kind of compares this to Dondarrion's, who is this fucking awesome story of a lightning bolt killing his enemies, and Dunk's like, "Well, I slept under a tree."
Which kind of makes you think of what actually happened to Dondarrion's enemies,
Exactly.
because no way they got struck by lightning. They probably like tripped over like
Yeah.
Something
wood
stupid happened.
yeah.
Like, something.
oh, lightning came down and struck them both, and the gods slayed them when they probably like I don't know killed each other. Who
Yeah.
knows? All right, so right after this, that he goes into the Great Hall to try and find the Master of the Games. He doesn't find the Master of the Games, but he finds a bunch of people standing in the Great or circled in the Great Hall. They're having a conversation, and one of the
No,
he's
that's the
trying-
next day. Isn't that the next
No,
day?
that's this.
No, it's right after.
Yeah, because he's like, "Fuck these guys." He basically goes in. He's like throwing in the towel. He's like, "I can't. This was the only chance I had for somebody
Yeah.
to vouch for me to be a knight." So he's going there to be like, to basically tell him, like, "Yeah, take my name out. Unless you
Yeah.
guys will
Okay.
let me do it, there's nobody's gonna stand up for me."
So he ends up going into the Great Hall, and he sees a bunch of people huddled up talking.
Yes. So this
And I
is,
think it's the Ashford, and he sees people with silver hair. He doesn't know that they're Targaryens or not yet. And I forget what they're exactly talking about, but I think this is where the one dad's like, my two sons are missing. They didn't make it here.
yeah.
So what are we going to do?
He's talking about. This is Makar talking about Egg and Dunk being missing. So he goes up and he's like, they're talking about how Daeron's kind of a disappointment. He's like, in
The
Baelor.
king, right?
Yeah, so basically the people we have are Jeff was right. Lord Ashford, Maekar Targaryen, and Baelor Targaryen, who are the two princes, both sons of the current king. And Maekar is the one whose sons have gone away, and the sons we know are Egg and Daeron, because that's who he's talking about. And he's saying how disappointed he is in Daeron because Daeron's a drunk, and Balon's like, well, you shouldn't have even put a tourney sword in his hand. Like, what were you thinking? And then he's like, well, at least you have Aerion here. So this is again, you have to really be paying attention to catch it. But this is where they drop the entire relation between all these people on you. Right, like this one scene is basically where you're supposed to figure out that
you're
really
getting
easily, explanation. It's
you
tough
barely
to
even figure out that Baryon and Maekar are brothers.
Yeah.
They just call them both princes, and everyone's a fucking prince. You have no idea what's going on.
You're right. It is a little confusing.
Baelor, dude, not Balerion or whatever you fucking said.
It's Baelor.
No, he said Balerion or something.
But this guy's name is Baelor.
Yeah, it's
okay.
Baelor.
So then they notice Dunk standing there, and they're like, "What the fuck?" Like Maekar, who just seems like a total. Oh, the other thing is Maekar's like, "I should kill. I'm gonna teach Daeron to be a good knight, or I'm gonna kill him." And Baelor's like, "He's your son. Calm the fuck down. Like, chill out. Like, you can get Baelor's way more level-headed than."
That's why I didn't understand that it was his son. I'm thinking it's his brother. The relation.
Yeah, the way he's talking about him.
Dawn on me because he's like, I'm just gonna kill him.
Yeah.
Like it could be like a little cousin. I had no idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's like, yo, that's my son, and I'm gonna kill him.
And that's when he's like, what the fuck are you doing here? Who let this guy in? And I think the master of games noticed him. He's like, oh, this is the knight I was telling you about, the one who wanted to be in the tournament.
I think Baelor brings it up. He said, this is the guy that Master of Arms was waiting for. I think Baelor
knows, because Baelor's the one who ends up vouching for him.
He knows, he remembers everything, and, he's smart.
But I didn't think he was there when Dunk asked the first time, so I just don't know how he would have known. This doesn't seem like a matter you bring up.
He said he was
to the
waiting
prince.
for him, so I think the princes walked up, and
gotcha.
the guy's like, I'm waiting for this guy to come, and then...
I think you're right. So, he's like, oh, yeah, I can't get anybody to vouch for me. And Dunk, kind of tells his spiel. And does Dunk realize that it's Balon, or does Balon recognize the name Sir Arlen and bring it up to Dunk?
I think it was Sir Balon. Or Dunk starts talking about a certain story he knows. So he quizzes him
that's
on
earlier. I thought. Oh, yeah, he does quiz him.
He quizzes him on who the Grey Lion is, because he was like, well, if you heard that story, you know who the Grey Lion's actual name is.
And Dunk,
and he
thinks...
takes his...
for a long time.
Dunk almost shits his pants, oh my god, I don't remember his name.
And then last second, just shouts it out. I forget what it is. Do you guys remember? But he shouts it out last second.
I think it's the left. No, it's the.
It's something Lannister, right?
Yeah, it's not Tyrion.
Lannister.
It's not Tywin. No, it's
Might be
the other one. It's the other one that they bring up. It's not Tybalt.
Whatever. He knows the answer, and so he's like, okay. And then we find out that. I think it's here we find out, I hope so, or else I'm spoiling Jeff, that Baelor Breakspear is the one who Sir Arlen jousted against.
Yeah, and they talk about how many lances he broke, and he was like, sir, with all due respect, it's 7 lances. He's like, no, it was 4.
It was 4. Trust me, it was me breaking the lances.
Yeah.
But that's freaking awesome that literally the prince of the 7 kingdoms, the heir to the Iron Throne, is the one who's vouching for Dunk to be in this tournament, because he's the one who knows Sir Arlen.
Right.
And
all happenstance, all crazy shit.
Mm-hmm. So then Dunk leaves, and he goes back and meets Egg, because he had brought Egg to this day, and Egg's watching the puppet show. So he sees this puppet girl for the 3rd time, and he knows that he has to get his shield painted, and Egg is admiring the paintwork on Lady's Dragons. So after she's done, Dunk asks, will you paint my shield? And she's like, well, what do you want me to paint on it? He's like, fuck, I didn't even think about that.
He starts thinking about random colors like brown. Can you make brown?
Yeah. And Dunk, or Egg is the one that comes up with the sigil, right? The elm tree and the shooting star. Or he says the elm tree, and then Dunk adds the shooting star.
Yeah, it's definitely how it happened.
So,
so how did Egg know about the shooting star, though?
That's what I'm saying.
No, he didn't. Egg said put an elm tree.
Oh, Egg said the elm tree, and then he said the shooting star.
Dunk adds the shooting star. Yeah. So yeah, that's the end of this day. The next day, they wake up and they go to the tournament, and
Yeah.
Egg is geeked up to say the least. And this is kind of like to what Jeff was saying earlier. Dunk knows he's not gonna be jousting until the third day anyway, so like he just doesn't even like bring his armor and stuff. He just goes and stands in the.
And it's amazing to me with how this tournament is set up that they would allow that. Like you couldn't. Well, I understand that they want the best knights to
Go first.
or joust in the first day, and I would understand if. And it sounds like the lists are pretty full, so that you could get away without having shitty ass hedge knights jousting in it. But
And
like you said, it'll just be easier because the champions will be tired as shit.
and one thing that I did notice was, did they do this with football stadiums, Jeff? That when they set up the list, they set them north south so that nobody has to look into the sun.
I
think they tried to.
haven't heard about that with football fields, but it's definitely true with baseball fields.
Yeah.
Because the sun will be, if it's setting, it'll either be in the pitcher or the hitter's eye, and you don't want that.
Okay. Yeah, so I was just thinking like they should do this for all sports. And
Yeah,
then
so
I think
you
they
want.
try to do it with football fields, but they don't always.
I
get
think they do because you want the sun to be at high sun, right? If you're playing at 12 or 1, you want it at up top, and you don't want it in anybody's eyes, so you'd like it to be falling on the stands. Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, so the one thing, and then the other thing is, so then you have like people watching on both sides, and one of those people has to be looking into the sun, and they set it up so that the high lords aren't, because the high lords are all on one side and all the commoners are on one side, and Dunk is with Dunk and Egg. So Egg's on Dunk's shoulders and they're on the commoner side. And like the Fosway even asked him after the battle if like why he was standing with the commoners, and he's like, everybody saw you because you're so freaking huge. And Dunk's like, I just don't feel at home with the highborn people. So
Yeah, exactly.
So during the tournament, I don't have the names of the the starters, but it's 2 Ashfords, right, who are there because this is an Ashford tournament, the sons of Lord Ashford. We have Valar, who is Baelor's son.
Yeah.
And who are the other 2?
Do we have a Lannister and we definitely have like Tytos,
Blacklord?
one of the Reach people. I thought it was like a Tyrell almost.
Oh, one of them is Leo Tyrell, Lord of Highgarden.
That's what I said.
Okay.
You're saying the champions, right?
Yeah.
The 4th pavilion was sewn together from a diamond-shaped piece of cloth alternating red and white. Dunk did not know the colors, but Egg said they belonged to the knight from the Vale of Arryn named Sir Humphrey Harding. Okay.
Right.
So basically we got 5 challengers, or 5 champions is what they call it, and then challengers go up and tap. You tap on the shield of who you want to fight. The first time they just send up 5 people, and they all go. And I think Jeff said it again. The people who win this tournament, like who are winning right now, don't really matter. We get like some overall stats at the end from Dunk of who's like got challenged the most and stuff. But so the first they go 5v5, and Jeff's right. They're like all going together, and like the ground is like shaking from the horses, and like mud's flying, and just like
it's unbelievable. It had to have been unbelievable.
Have you guys ever
sight.
been to like the Ren Fair?
I've been to the Renaissance Fair. Yeah.
Did you see the joust?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is like so lackluster compared to this. Like I want to see people actually joust.
Well, yeah, they don't even. You barely hit them if they hit them at all.
They just like try and get like they're just like trying for glancing blows.
Yeah, they're not falling off their horse and shit. And
Dude, lancing would be or jousting would be sick to fucking
that
watch.
Would be to watch.
Which is weird.
Especially if they fucking fall off and start fighting.
Yeah, that'd be the best.
Which I don't know how this fell out of favor. You know, it's kind of like boxing. What do you mean?
I think horses die a lot in jousting.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. You didn't let me finish.
Okay.
It's kind of like boxing on a horse. I understand when you get the animal cruelty aspect into it, but I mean, it doesn't sound like the horses aren't getting hit unless they want to get hit on purpose.
Well, people are also dying too, and that's another thing. Like,
people die boxing.
Not
I'm just saying.
Nearly as often.
Yeah.
You'd be able to figure it out so that you could safeten it up and still enjoy it.
Yeah, but I wonder if there was.
What do you think the CTE is like with this shit, guys? Jesus.
I wonder if there is like an event in history.
They weren't living long enough for CTE to come into play.
that caused the decline of was there something in real history that caused the decline of jousting? Probably.
The automobile? I don't know.
Yeah.
I think it was before that.
I've seen like college kids jousting on like office chairs and shit. That's pretty entertaining.
I've seen people joust on people's back
Or on
in
like
college
bikes. Yeah. Oh yeah.
with withered staff.
All right. Well, so yeah. So there's like he talks about the fights for a while. Like there's one time, like Jeff was saying earlier, Lord Tully was down. He got unhorsed by Sir Humphrey Harding, who's one of the champions, and Humphrey like gets off his horse and like starts going at him. And I think when
fucks him up.
Yeah, and when Dunk talks about like who's winning the most, he says like people seem to be afraid to challenge Prince Valar.
Yeah.
Like
But it's because he sucks.
Not afraid because he's good. Afraid because they don't want to be the one who beat the prince.
Fuck up a Targaryen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I wonder like if people are like purposely losing to make him
Yeah, he also says they're like old guys that
the ones who are challenging him.
him.
Yeah, they're old or green or something.
And
I forget what he says.
but you shouldn't be afraid because this guy's not even close to being in line to be king.
Yeah.
You should just fuck him up. Who cares?
Well, that's what Dunk's saying. He's like, I think I have to fucking fight him.
Well, especially after the first round, and then the Laughing Baratheon gets on, and I think one of the Lannister guys, like both Ashford guys, get knocked out. So then it becomes really like 5 champions, and then or 4 champions, and then this Targaryen guy who is going against really easy people.
Mm-hmm. And then it ends with, I think it's Aerion, right? Challenges Sir Humphrey and kills his horse.
Which, if you look at the picture and the illustrations, if you bought the hardback book and you're following along with us, the illustration has a pointed spear.
Yeah, which is crazy. I was like,
that
doesn't make sense.
You do not joust with a
Yeah.
pointed spear.
Yeah, that's not.
So either the artist was drunk when he was. It just doesn't make sense.
I think it's
like,
just for the picture. I mean, it looks cool.
I understand, but it's as sharp as an arrow.
Yeah.
And it should be
It
usually
is really
they're like
sharp. It makes
usually
no sense.
they look like a fist or it's like a weird thing that won't stab a horse through the neck and out the back.
Yeah, and you haven't got there yet, but they say in like in the second half that the lances are meant for breaking. Like they're not meant to. They're like built like almost like a baseball bat, where it's like not supposed to break, but it'll break.
There's a
before,
weakness and it'll go.
Yeah, so to keep people from getting hurt. So after that, Dunk is like, "Oh, that's like unfortunate," and Egg is just like, "He definitely did that on purpose." Like, what are you talking about? Unfortunate? He's such an asshole.
Yeah, I mean, it could also just be a thing of Dunk is just so stupid and just doesn't pick up on
Egg's cheering him on. He's like, kill him! Kill him!
Yeah. So this
Egg
is
hates this guy.
his brother, and this is what we were saying
Well,
earlier.
I didn't want to drop the spoiler, but yeah.
I think we've said it a few times throughout, but yeah. And you said it like this is where Egg is just not trying to hide who he is at all. Well, maybe it's because he already told Dunk that he knows who all these people are and he's got his favorites, but he is obviously anti-Aerion right here.
Big time.
Full on.
So after they're done, they're leaving, and this is when Sir Raymond Fossilway comes up and starts talking to him, who was the nice one, and says like, "Oh, I saw you talking with the commoners. Let's go get a drink." And Dunk's like, "No, I don't want to." But Egg's like, "Go ahead. I'll go go watch the puppet show."
And he doesn't want to because he knows he can't return the favor at some point.
Unless he wins.
Well, even so, he doesn't have a pavilion to invite him into.
Oh, yeah. Yes, you're right. So then Dunk...
Does it even force him, though? I thought he made him.
He's like, come on, it would be, like, unhonorable to
He pretty much
decline
guilts him
me.
into it, yeah.
He's like, you have to accept or whatever.
He's like, oh, I'm fine. I'll go watch the puppets.
So, yeah, so then they go, and this is when... So, real quick, they have Raymond and Dunk have a conversation, and Raymond basically said the same thing Egg did, where he's like, oh, he definitely tried to do that. Everybody knows that Aerion's kind of like a dickhead.
When Makar's not watching or whatever.
Yeah, he's like the shining sun when Makar's around, but he's a dickhead when he's not. And then this is when out of nowhere, Egg bursts in, and he's like, come, sir, you have to help, he's hurting her. And Egg runs out and sees that Aerion, who they were just talking about, is a total dick and being an asshole to Tanzel Too Tall, who's the redheaded puppet lady who Dunk has a crush on. And he breaks her finger because what she is doing with showing dragons getting killed is treason. So he breaks her finger, and Dunk just like plows through 2 guardsmen and goes up and just like punches him in the face, and he falls over, and then he kicks him a few times, right? And Aerion like loses a few teeth.
No, his one tooth is loose. He
knocks one tooth loose. So then real quick, Arion has two guards grab Dunk before he can keep going, and Arion's like, yeah, let's cut his get like a hammer and knock some of his teeth out, and that's when Egg steps forward and has to reveal himself, and he's like I think the last line of where I told Jeff to stop was, Arion realizes it's Egg, and he's like, why'd you cut all your hair off? And Egg's like, because I didn't want to look
I don't
like
want to
you.
look like you, brother.
Yeah.
I don't want to look like you.
So if this is your first time reading, this is the big surprise. Oh shit, this kid is a Targaryen, and Dunk's been chilling with a Targaryen the whole time. And that is the end of where we read to.
Boom.
Any predictions for what's gonna happen, Jeff? Dunk or Glow already read, so no predictions.
So
for
let
him.
me just say, I'm not like, oh my god, what a big spoiler. I can't put the book down. I could put the book down.
Well, you also
Chloe.
knew this going
You're so mentally soft.
No, I'm mentally tough because I knew the peer pressure was going to come. I was like, fuck those guys. I'm going to keep reading because I want to read. I want to read.
So, my quick prediction, Egg's going to have to go back to his father now, or they're going to call his father back, or he's going to have to go to Uncle Greatsword, or whatever the fuck his name is, Baelon.
Baelor Breakshaft.
Breakspear.
He's gonna have to go back there. His uncle's gonna be like, "What the fuck you been doing? Like, where'd you go? What are you doing?" And he's like, "No, I'm gonna squire for this Sir Duncan the Tall."
So wait,
and he's gonna.
Dunk's just not in trouble. Dunk was just fine for kicking literally a prince in the face.
Yeah. Because Egg's gonna vouch for him. You didn't let me finish.
Egg's 11 though. Imagine Arya vouching for somebody.
I would listen to Arya.
Somebody kicks Robb in the face, knocks his teeth out, and Arya's like, "No, Ned, he was my friend and he was protecting people."
Tell Robb to fight better. Arya wouldn't give a shit.
You know what I'm saying?
Whatever.
That's true.
All right.
That's
So
true.
what are they gonna do? Kill him? No, I know they're not gonna kill him. So I'm not gonna predict that.
Okay.
Okay. So moving on. I know he's gonna
All
survive.
right, so Egg vouches for him.
If they kill him, it's the end of the whole fucking book. We got
Okay. So
2 more short stories to go.
so
So shut
Egg-
the fuck up. My prediction time.
all right.
All right. So Egg's gonna be like, you can't, or maybe they do threaten to kill this guy, and Egg's gonna be like, no, I'm his squire. Blah blah. I'm not going back to King's Landing. He's fighting in the jousting pit tomorrow. Pretty much, Egg makes it so that he can joust and stay in the lines, and I don't think he's going to win his joust though.
If Egg
I
has
think he's going to lose his joust, huh?
if Egg
I
has
do.
this pull, if he loses, does he still have to surrender his arms and armor? Or is Egg like, no, he's my friend, Dad, pay for it? It's
I
probably
think-
like a pocket change.
I was about to say, yeah.
I think it's gonna happen something like that. Like, he's not gonna win his fight, but he's going to be honorable enough that the dad will be like, okay, I'll let you have my son as a squire. Here's everything that you need to do to get out on the road, and that's gonna take us into the second book.
All right, so just one comment. You think Maekar? So there's 2 head Targaryens, Baelor and Maekar. Maekar
Right.
is the one who threatens to kill his own son if he's a bad jouster. Do you think Maekar
Right.
is just going to be cool with Egg squiring for a night just randomly throughout in the kingdom?
Oh, we didn't even bring.
Spoiler alert! Spoiler alert! Spoiler alert! Spoiler alert! Spoiler alert! Spoiler alert!
Oh, we didn't even bring up that the drunk guy in the inn in the beginning is Daron. Did we bring that up?
It's not in the first half of the book.
Oh.
That's literally what I was reading when I texted you, trying not to spoil Jeff. I should have been more clear.
Glow's at it again.
Damn it.
I don't think it's a far stretch to realize that, considering that he had lost 2 sons and that.
Yeah, that's why.
a High
That's
Lord
how
guy.
I like. That's when I figured it out.
Glow,
So he's
Glow
missing
figured
2
that
guys.
out in on page 14.
Yeah, when they
Oh.
said 2 sons and he was with a drunk guy in the bar, I was like, Aegon's not gonna be by himself. That's his brother that's missing.
All right. Well, again, not a huge spoiler, but a little bit of a spoiler.
Thanks a lot, Glow.
I'll put the spoiler alert sound in. I did put the spoiler alert sound in the other podcast. I just edited Jeff saying it. But yeah, so you think Maekar is good to just let Egg wander the 7 kingdoms?
I don't think he's going to be like, okay, yeah, cool, man, go and enjoy. But he obviously cares about Egg because he's out. I mean, I think he cares about both of them, but I think has a little bit more for Egg because it's his baby, and he's like, all right, well, I don't know what path they're going on after this tourney, so I don't know where they're headed. So, but yeah, I think they're going to be. Obviously, he's going to be a squire. They're going off together on this adventure.
I'm gonna accept those predictions as good predictions, but your prediction, your two main predictions are Dunk lives and Egg becomes a squire, which are obvious because of the next thing.
I think he's going to lose his joust.
Okay. I'm just saying.
What the fuck else do I know? I have no idea. And then Dunk's gonna go kill somebody. He's gonna go be a great knight and kill somebody. What the fuck do you want me to say?
Jeff, I think I like your predictions.
I don't think there's any shot your predictions are gonna be wrong, except for maybe the Dunk loses his joust.
All right. Well, I mean, there's other than the background story of Dunk and he's going to go buy Sweetfoot back, what the fuck do you want me to say? I have no idea where they're going. They're going to go north. They're going to go east. They're going to go west. They're going to go south. There's nothing. I have no idea.
I guess we'll find out next time.
Yeah.
All right, everybody. Join us next time as we discuss the second half of the Hedge Night. Follow us on YouTube and Spotify. We will be releasing. So our schedule moving forward is we'll definitely have a release out every Monday. If we happen to get a lot of recording in one week and have a few extra episodes, maybe I'll release one during the week and we'll tweet it out. So be sure to follow us on Twitter if you want to be notified anytime a new episode comes out. Otherwise, you might miss them if you're only checking in Monday. That's all I got. Anything for you guys?
Like us and follow us on Spotify and YouTube. Let's go.
All right. Well, with that, we'll call this episode over.
Okay.
We'll see you guys next time.
Bye-bye now.